very fortunate back 7 years ago, we started looking into St. Lucie County to get involved in developments. And fortunately at that time, we made a decision is to put together a master plan for the 1,200 acres for the city of Port St. Lucie so they could have a vision of what that tradition project may look like. At that time, we got involved with the city. We gave them some ideas, recommendations. They had a lot of ideas and thoughts. And so what we ended up happening was they ended up purchasing the property. They ended up going out for a request for a proposal to developers to help them coordinate the first phase of the 1,200 acre project. And after a process that we went through, we were fortunate to be chosen to be their master developer on that first phase. During that time period, there was only one project within Tradition called Kaiser University. And you see what we happened today in Tradition. We only have out of 1,200 acres of land, 100 acres left. And I would say 6-7 million square feet of space that's currently under construction or to be developed. And more importantly, creating thousands of jobs that were much needed in the county.
What kind of economic impact that has?
When people hear the word industrial, they have this feeling that it's low labor wages for employees. But what it also does is, besides bringing in a significant amount of jobs, it creates the ancillary uses to it as well. So if you take an example, let's say you have 5 million square feet of industrial and office projects within Tradition, that then creates probably 300 to 400 rooms of hotels, 2 or 3 apartment complexes, retail establishments. So it's creating even more jobs outside of what's being developed within the Tradition project. I've always had a driven mentality from the standpoint of team leadership. I believe in coordinating in our organization, and any organization I get involved with is putting together a vision for everybody. It's not an individual accomplishment, it's a team approach. And so one of the aspects that I believe that I bring as leadership from my standpoint is always to bring on board people that are your weaknesses. You all have strengths and weaknesses. I have a great wife and business partner of 38 years that has a lot of strengths that are my weaknesses. And the same aspect we like to bring within our own organization, the same type of individuals. People who bring something that they can take leadership and really be engaged and be productive from day one.
And who in your life was your key mentor? I mean, how did they inspire you?
That's the easy question for me. It's my parents. I was very fortunate. My father came from Sicily as a young boy, and so he didn't have a lot growing up. My mother's family was from Northern Italy, came to the United States. They met in an architectural store that my mother was working in. My father was going to architectural school. But the biggest benefits from my parents are really twofold. My father was a very strong entrepreneur, hardworking, started as a mason, working in the construction fields and worked himself up in life. I have 6 brothers and sisters. So every dinner, my father would always bring up business attributes and on life in general. So I had a very strong male influence relative to the business side of my career. My mother brought the aspect of compassion, love, caringness. One of the most important things I believe is surround yourself at all times with good quality individuals that are mixed personalities, mixed backgrounds, because I think the biggest mistake so many people have is that they're kind of focused on their own way of doing business or doing things personally in life. And I truly believe that by getting involved with many different people from different facets of life only makes you stronger. I've known about Pete Hegener since I got involved in St. Lucie County 7 years ago. And so I find fascination. I like to read a lot. I like to read about people who are successful and how they got there. Not everybody's travels goes the way that they anticipate. But when I read about his involvement in St. Lucie County and what he did in St. Lucie West, for instance, and then what his vision was in a Tradition project, and all the acreage and coordinating the vision that he had to coordinate 2 interchanges and then Village Parkway, the main course with water, sewer, utilities. I mean, in St. Lucie County at that time, it was more of a community that was a retirement community. And he changed that whole focus. And to me, I find fascinating because he had this incredible vision. I'm a believer that if you're going to be involved in a community, that you should be involved not only economically, but socially as well. And so over the last 7 years, everything we have done except one project has been in St. Lucie County. So our whole organization is dedicated to St. Lucie County. The biggest attributes I think that we brought to the table in the initial stages was that we had significant contacts in South Florida, working with all the various brokers, developers. I would say 30% of our business deals are even with co-developing with other developers. So we have been very engaged in everything from Dade County through Palm Beach County. And so the first thing that we did as a company and myself was to re-engage everybody that I knew in the industry. And we coordinated at that time with EDC and the city of Port St. Lucie, getting them up here, doing bus tours, taking them around to give them a feel of St. Lucie County itself. Because of our business establishments in South Florida, I would say 80% of the initial groups that we brought to Tradition were people we knew. Through hotel operators, retail operators, users like Cheney Brothers. We were fraternity brothers together
Wow.
a few years ago at Stetson University. And so we had the ability to speak with people, and because I knew them, it's easier to make a pitch to them.
Hello, thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak on behalf of our father. We've invested, I think it's almost close to $200 million through this development over the last couple years. And from the standpoint of development itself, we've got about 1 million plus square feet that has currently been constructed and have brought some tremendous companies to your community. Amazon, FedEx, and several institutional type capital groups that are now looking at this community. I'm sure that's added countless jobs, certainly from the construction side, but also from the standpoint of these distribution centers and what they're going to employ. And that was one of the reasons that we were attracted to Port St. Lucie, was the low cost of wages there, the affordable housing that's there, and what a wonderful environment it's been in terms of collaboration and in working with your city. So we're very, very, very excited to be a part of it. And one quick story that I have to tell you with our involvement here that involves our father is 3 days before his passing, on a Friday afternoon, before there was one shovel in the ground on your site, Dad drove about 45 minutes from his home in Palm Beach Gardens over to Port St. Lucie. And that Friday, visited the site. It was all grass, it was all open landscape. Called me that day on his way home and was so excited about the development. He talked about the nearby hospital. He talked about the pretty rooftops and the way the roads were all manicured and in good condition, and was very, very excited about this development. We must have talked 45 minutes about it, and that was the last time I spoke to my dad. And it was about your community. It was about this development. That Monday he passed, and that Monday morning, he actually spoke to my brother Jim and said to Jim, "Have you got that park leased up yet?" And that's how Dad was. We hadn't even put a shovel in the ground. He was expecting us to have it leased. But that was the last conversation Jim had. And so I think it's right here, is actually that photo of Dad visiting the site. A little skinnier here. He had about 40 more pounds on him about 8 months earlier, which he never liked, getting skinny. But this was him visiting the site on that Friday and passed on that Monday. And by the way, he wouldn't take a picture of himself. Dad was very, very humble. But the guy that drove him to the site, for whatever reason, he had this picture taken of him, which I think is pretty interesting. So this is what stemmed this development being named after my father, Legacy Park. And what really stemmed our motivation in getting this project completed. The EDC and the CDD, we share board seats on both of those organizations. Anytime they have an initiative, we're certainly one of the first to participate and happy to do so. I know that there was a tax abatement referendum that we also assisted with. But the long and short, we love serving on both of those boards. We love being a part of the community, and I think the board knows that anytime there's any kind of initiative, I like to think we're one of the first phone calls they make, and we're always willing to participate and help. It's a tremendous community. It really is, and we're really proud to be a part of it. Our core values came from our father. It's teamwork, faith, professionalism, creativity, and hard work. And I mean, I think of teamwork right away. None of this could have happened without collaboration with the city and our team. And I've said it now several times, but the city of Port St. Lucie, hands down, has been the best city that we've ever worked with when it comes to a development. And we could not have gotten this development kicked off without teamwork. When you're approaching a development, you don't approach it from your lens, you approach it from the community's lens. You know, we always tell our brokers and our people that our slogan is, our legacy is built on helping create yours. That can be for a small business that's looking to find space that we help them with, or it can be for a community that's looking to improve an area. And so when we approach a development and it came directly from our father, we think about how can we better that community? How can we help that community create their legacy? And that's how we've done this with this park. And we would not have done that, and we would have never thought that way if it wasn't for our father's example and our father's leadership. Key mentors for my dad was his father. I had asked my dad, how'd you do it? How'd you come from nothing and get the success achieve the success that you did? And he said it was the love of his father. He said his father always believed in him. His father always loved him. And because his father loved him, he believed in himself. Because he believed in himself, he was able to do what he did. Another mentor in my dad's life was certainly his grandma. He talks about his grandma when she came over from Italy, and she would say to him in Italian that in the old country, which was over in Italy, that if you're born poor, you die poor. But in this country, the United States, if you get an education and you work hard, you can be and do whatever it is you want. And so he talked about that often. And in fact, we have that quote here in our office. Really appreciate you all considering my father, who's obviously not here to speak on his behalf. Unfortunately, you're stuck with myself and brothers, but hopefully we did an okay job exemplifying what a wonderful, wonderful man he is.
When you really look into what goes into a swimming pool, from the steel to the pipe, to the pumps, to the filters, to the concrete, to the pavers, to the screens, to the electric, not only does that company support 98 employees from A&G, but Silverline Plastics is where we get our PVC from. They're a manufacturer in St. Lucie County. They employ over 100 full-time employees themselves. I'm buying almost $1 million worth of pipe every year from that company. Now we go into my subcontractor for screen enclosures. They employ 35 employees. Pavers, they employ over 50 employees. So as a total, when we're looking at what this company gives to the community, it's not just what we have and the employees we have, but every other ancillary company that starts supporting that swimming pool that we're putting in. It's amazing when you start going through all the companies and the amount of people that this small little pool company in St. Lucie County truly affects.
I always think of it as a wake when you're driving a boat and you look behind and you see that effect.
I don't realize it because every day we're busy, we're building a pool, we're making everything happen. But when you start breaking everything down, it's amazing the amount of people that this small pool company actually does support.
And they're going to school here, they're shopping
Absolutely.
here.
They're shopping here, they're buying gas here, they're going to restaurants here. And the majority of our employees live in St. Lucie County. Let's go through the vehicles. I have 68 vehicles that hit the road every day. Guess what? I'm buying them from Dyer Chevrolet. I'm buying them from Arrigo Dodge. I'm buying them from local source people that, guess what? Those need tires. Those need batteries. Those need windshield wipers. I'm going to St. Lucie Battery and Tire. 16 different locations throughout the Treasure Coast. Mickey Miller, Doug Miller, and Joey Miller, who started it 45 years ago, selling chicken eggs on the side of the road. Somebody needed a battery and needed tires. He decided that's how St. Lucie Battery and Tire started 40 years ago. Now it's a 16-store location. Guess what? I spend over $20,000 a month with them maintaining my vehicles. So a very small pool company like we talked about has such a great impact throughout the community and different businesses. Our core value is always doing the right thing. It's not always easy, it's not always cheap, it's not always the inexpensive way out, but at the end of the day, do the right thing. We all have to look at ourselves in a mirror each and every day when we wake up, and I want to be very happy and proud of the person that I am. Again, it's not easy to do the right thing, but when we go ahead and we take that and we throw it across the entire company, that's our core value, and each and every person comes to work every day knowing that, hey, we're going to do the right thing, we're going to make sure that client is taken care of, we're going to make sure that product is built 100%, and that correlates back into the community where the community trusts us to be able to do so many other things other than just build swimming pools. It's not just me, it's my family, it's my wife, it's my kids. My wife allows me to do what we do. My wife's on the board for the Boys and Girls Club. My wife is on the board for United Against Poverty. My wife is an amazing human being, and God bless her heart, and God thank her, because she's my high school sweetheart, and she truly allows me to do what I do. We are constantly out in the community, as you said, doing things. We have an amazing organization called Christmas for Kids that started 15 years ago by David French in Station 4 up in Fort Pierce. From that, Christmas for Kids started. Christmas for Kids now is an organization that has over 110 volunteers. We meet every month. We have board meetings every month, and we handed out over 5,000 toys this past Christmas to over 3,500 kids. Not only did we do that, but we also partnered up with a couple other organizations in the community. Now we also feed them as well on Christmas Day. We hand out Publix gift cards, we hand out shoes with Little Feet organization. So it's a multiplier when you start looking at the organizations in St. Lucie County. It's not just that they help themselves. Most organizations as a multiplier to help everybody else. That is one of the great organizations, and my children have been part of that since they were 4 and 6. So my kids come out Christmas Day. 4 o'clock in the morning when we wake up, we go to breakfast. We then go out to the fire station at 6 o'clock. We hit the road. We then go home at about 2:33, shower, go to my mom's house for Christmas dinner, then come home at 8 o'clock at night and open up Christmas at our house. And we've been doing that now for the last decade. Every part of my life where I've transitioned as I've grown, there's been a different mentor throughout that entire progress. Art Allen, who was my former partner, truly took me underneath his wing when I was a 21-year-old kid selling swimming pools, provided me the opportunity to go ahead and be a business partner, and truly taught me how to, in the business aspect of swimming pools. Then you fast forward to Hal Roberts. Hal Roberts, as I transitioned for business, he taught me how to basically run a business. Then you transition to my neighbor Dan. My neighbor Dan lives right down the street from me, and when COVID hit, we decided to start Steak and Wine Night. Steak and Wine Night happened through COVID on a Thursday night. He is a retired general contractor from New York City. Actually is my courier, works for A&G Concrete Pools. The ideas and the comments and the conversations that occurred on Thursday night Steak and Wine Night really tailored through the last 4 or 5 years through COVID. Now you fast forward to what it is today, and I look back, and it's really my mom. My mom's my mentor, because whatever it took, no matter what time of day, no matter how tired you were, no matter how tired she was, you get up, you pick up your bootstraps, and you go to work and you make things happen. At the end of the day, I give time and monies. It's not just monies. It's really easy to write a check. Really easy to go, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and fund that, and I'm going to go do what I want to do. But you know what? What does that teach my kids? What does that teach my employees? When my employees see, you know what, he's up there at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, he's working, he's going out, he's doing all these events, he's actually physically there, and I think being present is what's more important than anything. The business allows me the platform. It allows me the monetary. I mean, let's just be honest. No nonprofits can't work without money. It allows me the platform to be able to go and impact the Boys and Girls Club. So right now we donate anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 a year to the Boys and Girls Club. Sounds like a lot of money. Guess what? It's a $9 million a year budget. So we go now with the Florida Builders Alliance, we go to the state of Florida, we then champion some of our state reps to try and see if we can't get some state money. That's one portion of it. Now let's go ahead and go fast forward to Education Foundation. So now you have the Education Foundations where we all know that the teachers, a lot of them spend their own money on supplies for the kids. We're partnering with the Education Foundation. I'm actually getting an award for Alumni of the Year because I'm a St. Lucie County grad. Windmill Point Elementary, Northport, Westwood, IRSC. It was IRCC back then, by the way. Not that we're going to age ourselves.
Right.
But when you look back on
that.
everything that we've done in the community, and so Christmas for Kids is a huge one. Boys and Girls Club is a big one. Education Foundation is another one that we do. There's a lot of things that we touch. There's a lot of things that we donate money to, and a lot of times that we go there. But the biggest ones are the Christmas for Kids and the Boys and Girls Club. Humane Society, which is right next to me, we're big supporters of them. We really care about the kids and the animals, because at the end of the day, those are the ones that can't take care of themselves.
the fire board takes up a lot of your time too. You were appointed by the governor.
I was, yes, about 2.5 years ago. And Nate Spirit, a dear friend of mine who was a fire chief, retired now. We have Chief Lee. Nate Spirit left a lot out when I asked him what the job entailed, or job keyword, following told basically for that position. I enjoy that. It gives me an insight as to where the growth is in the community. The growth in this St. Lucie County is pretty amazing, and the fire station, the fire board's got to be able to keep up with that. We have 478 firefighters and a $164 million budget. And I'm also trying to cut taxes and everything else on that side, because I'm a business owner, I'm a landowner, and taxpayer. Also a chairman of license board for St. Lucie County. One of the biggest things for me is making sure that we have good licensed contractors in St. Lucie County and making sure that we hold them accountable as well. I'm 45. I'm just getting started. But then you look back and I've had people say, hey, look at what you've done over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And I guess I'm humbled. I don't like talking about myself. I don't enjoy it. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I guess you don't sometimes realize what you're doing, because at the end of the day, I do it because I want to. I do it because it feels good to do good. I do it because there's a need there, and I'm blessed enough to be able to do it. Look what happened in 2007, 2008, the Great Recession. Yeah. When everybody pulled back, we went from 110 employees to 30. We went from 478 swimming pools to 84. I remember making partner in 2009. I'm like, where'd all the money go? But you know what? We persevered. The community rose. The community stayed together, and now look where we are today.